and thank you so much for watching I'll Carry You With Me at the 43rd Mill Valley Film Festival. My name is Faridah Gbadamosi, and I'm on the programming team of the Mill Valley Film Festival. And I'm so excited to have with me two people from the film I'll Carry You With Me to do a Q&A. So I would like to introduce you to the director, Heidi Ewing.
Hello.
And then to one of the stars of the film, Armando Espitia.
Hola.
So my first question is kind of, how did you meet Armando? Like, I thought Armando did a fantastic job in the film. It was such an amazing performance. I cried. I've seen the movie multiple times at this point. I work at a lot of festivals, and every time I'm just like so taken away from the performance. I wanted to know how you met Armando and the casting process in general.
Well, the casting process was tricky because the film is actually based on two real people that I've known for very long. So, you know, I wasn't looking for some sort of physical look-alike by any means for the real Iván, but I wanted to find somebody who maybe possessed sort of the essence of the real person as I knew him. So I come from documentary filmmaking, and this was my first narrative. So the casting process was pretty intimidating for me. I looked at many different actors, and just nobody clicked. And Armando was brought to me by the casting director, and he was unable to sort of do an audition in a traditional sense because he did it in a hotel room because he was on location for another project. And something about his first audition, there was something about him that was tender and authentic and real and vulnerable. But yet somebody with a lot of, you could tell somebody with a backbone. So I was really looking for all of those characteristics in an actor. And I knew immediately the first time I saw his tape. I mean, once I met him, the casting process was very quickly. For me, it was over. Basically, after our first encounter, I didn't want to see anybody else for the role.
That's so sweet.
That's true.
And then, Armando, how did you hear about the project? And then how did you get connected?
Kind of in the same way I hear about all of my projects through the casting director. And it was another one. Like, it gave me like another project from Mexico. We didn't even notice at the beginning that it was a co-production between Mexico and the States. But there was just the name of the director written in the email. So I Googled Heidi, and I realized that I knew her. I mean, I knew her films. So it was very exciting for me just to make the auditions because I loved a few of her films. I mean, I say a few because I didn't watch all of them, but yeah, it was very exciting just to think on the possibility to work with her. And also was exciting for me to know that she is a documentary filmmaker, not precisely. I knew from the beginning that it would be a different experience. And yeah, just like Heidi said, I did only one audition, and then we met.
Yeah, you did a second one, but then you didn't like it, and then we got on the phone. Yeah, you were like, that was shit, and I was like, yeah, wasn't it good? And he was like, well, you know, they didn't give me. Anyway, it was really funny because we just once we got on the Skype or whatever,
And also, we made this Skype meeting, and we were programming like to be there for 30 minutes, and it was around 3 hours, I guess, you and I talking. And at the end, you told me that I was asking the questions.
And I was like, whoa, wait a second, dude. I was like, I think I just lost control of this call. Because you're tricky. You seem like you're going to just be no, you're a tricky person. That's what I like.
No, it was fun because from the very beginning, we knew, at least me, I knew that it will be a contribution, like more in an artistic way. It wasn't a job interview. It was more like two people trying to figure out how they can work together. And that is, for an actor, it's not very common to find that in a director.
It was a real collaboration. It was a real collaboration between Armando and myself, and I would say among the other actors as well. Like, my approach was very collaborative because I also am not from Mexico, and I wanted to make sure that the movie felt Mexican, that it was authentic, that it was real, that people were speaking in a manner that was realistic and natural. And so I really relied a lot on the actors themselves and asked for their contributions in the rehearsal process, especially. So it was a very comfortable process for me, coming from my background, to sort of, really have a give and take with the actors.
One of the things that I really enjoyed about the film, aside from the performance, was it felt like, even whether or not you had a likeness to your real life persona, I felt like the two characters very much connected for me. I think the film does a really good job of and your acting does an amazing job of making me feel like I had to remember that it wasn't real at certain points. It was like, oh, we just have the younger version of him somehow in the same movie. And I thought that the two individuals it was very well done. So I just wanted to say that I really enjoyed the performance and the connection. And in that vein, I wanted to know, what was it like meeting the person you were playing? Did you meet him before you started shooting or after you started shooting?
Heidi didn't let me meet him, but it was now I know that it was the right thing to do, because I was pushing really hard to meet Iván, but she told me one day, we had the script and you know how to work from the script, so just do your work. And she also said to me, you got me, I'm your director, I'm here, you don't need anything else. And yeah, I think it was the right thing to do for this specific project, because she wasn't looking for the recreation of this character. It was more like a journey. I went through all his story, and yeah, the result is the movie. So it wasn't, we were not trying to do just another Iván, which I think we create something else. And then when I finally get to meet him, was so fun. We get along very well with both of them, because they are in another moment in their lives, and they are very happy, joyful people right now, and they were very excited to show us their city and their lives now. And we create this friendship, weird one, because yeah, we are not in the same city, but it's interesting how I went through their lives by myself with my character, and that connects us in a strange way. I don't know how to describe that.
I think
so unusual. Most films are that are based on real people. I would say the majority of films that I see that are based on real people, that person is exceptionally old or possibly deceased. So a lot of real life stories are just not done with this age range. I mean, Iván and Gerardo are in their 40s. It's they're young, they're vibrant, they're working. So it was so fun for me. I was very scared for them all to meet each other. I was terrified. But then they formed this immediately, the friendship. The first night they met, they basically sent me home and they all went out until I don't know what time. I was like, good, they're happy. But that was so unusual. It just doesn't happen like this. So I think it was a real gift. And an unexpected outcome was this friendship between the actors and the reals.
And I'm going to say it's all because of Heidi. Heidi has this same energy that she's describing from Iván and Gerardo. She's vibrant and happy all the time, and very strong and very focused. And they are kind of the same. So they involve you in the same energy, the three of them.
One of the things that I love about this film, I'm a sucker for a romance. So one of the things that I really enjoyed about the film is that the film centers their relationship, but also his relationship with his family and the friends he has. And I wanted to know why did you choose telling the story through a romance?
Well, I always looked at this film. The film has a lot of themes. The film is about fathers and sons. The film is about sacrifice and leaving home and, the immigrant experience. But for me, primarily, it's a love story. It was always primarily a love story, because it's about two people that were supposed to be together, but there's all these obstacles in the way. And one of the obstacles is, you know, homophobia in Mexico at that time. Another obstacle is financial. Another obstacle is that one of them, Iván, had a big dream and an ego, and he wanted to have a better life, and he wanted to try his luck. He wasn't satisfied with his life in Mexico. And that story is not very often told. Usually the immigrant stories you hear about are like, you know, I'm in danger, my family's in danger, I have to leave, I have to flee, I have no choice. It's like he had a choice. He could have stayed, but he wanted something more in his life. So I was very attracted to that immigrant's experience, but I would not have made the film if there weren't a romance at the center of it, because I think it's universal, and because I believe in love, and because I believe that people do crazy things to be together. And this was a really strong example of that.
I agree. I really do feel like the love story at the center really does make the story truly universal. I feel that it did a great job, and I had the pleasure of seeing it in an audience when I first saw it, and I felt like everyone felt very connected to the characters. But I've also seen it at home as much as the viewers are watching it right now, and the story still sits with you, and you feel very connected to the characters through the storytelling style.
Did you see it at Sundance?
Yeah.
Oh, you did? Oh, good. Yeah, I'm glad you saw it with an audience. It changed a lot. Yeah, of course.
And then, so my next question is, what was it like doing, because you are used to doing documentary, what was it like making a film that blended documentary and narrative?
It's hard. Filmmaking's hard. Storytelling is complicated, and it was new. I don't know. I luckily had the time, and I had a wonderful editor, Inat Sidi. He had many, many months to edit and find the story. I also had an amazing cinematographer, Juan Pablo Ramirez, that I consulted with a lot. It was a real collaboration between a lot of different talented people. So it hadn't been done before in this sense of integrating documentary cinema verite into a narrative film. It's just, there's not a lot of references. I had no references. So I guess on one hand that was good because I wasn't comparing it to anything. It had a high chance of failing, the idea. It was like a very high failure possibility because it hadn't been done. So that really it thrilled me and scared me at the same time. So at some point you're just like, I'm going to do the best I can. I want to do it like this, and I'm going to just put it all on the floor and see if I can make it work. So it really just became one of those, you know, full force, no stopping kind of attitudes.
So one of my favorite moments inside the film is the scene in which Iván's saying goodbye to his son. And I wanted to know, what was it like filming that scene and also like acting in that scene?
It was very hard, and it was one of my favorite scenes from the script. And I was really expecting from that day to happen. Remember, Heidi? Yeah. And I was just focusing a lot of energy into that moment. And I worked so hard building the relationship with the actor, with the character of the son, because it was important for me as a person, maybe not as a character. And yeah, what I think the migrant experiences make people brave is because these kind of stories and these kind of moments when they have to leave everything they know behind, and that makes I don't know. I don't know. I thought it was important for the character because through this moment we were showing that he's a brave man, and he's doing it because he has a reason, and he wants something better for his son, for that kid. Yeah, it was important because it makes the story not about myself or the character that I play, but his family and his son, and something for the future. don't know if I said something.
We both were frustrated. We shot that scene twice over 2 days. We were supposed to shoot it once. And it was actually, there was a lot of pressure on that scene. As Armando described, he spent a lot of time preparing for the scene and thinking about it. And I, as a director, also put a lot of attention on imagining that scene. And, you know, when you deal with children, children have good days and bad days. And this was a very young boy. And the days were long. And I think Armando and I were both very concerned that we didn't get the scene. And my first AD had to say, Heidi, like, you have to stop. You're losing the light. You're not getting it. We have to do it again tomorrow. Like, I was just like, couldn't figure out how to get it. And it was frustrating. But I think in the scene, I think we were maybe trying too hard. I think now, and you see it in the film, and it's used as a flash. It's used twice, but they're very short and powerful flashes. And I think it's one of those things where everybody in the audience can project and imagine what Iván must be thinking and feeling. And it's an excellent scene, but I think both of us we were a little panicked about it. And I think that was an interesting learning experience.
I mean, you make it work. You make the scene work, and you knew where to put it and when to put the scene, and make this visual scene works in a very emotional way. And that's why we put a lot of energy in that scene, because the emotion in it. But you figure the way to do it through the visuals. Yeah.
We found out how to do it. And it was in a million places. Right now, it's a flashback in the movie, but. Yeah, I think that was a really tough day for both Armando as an actor and myself as a director, for sure.
In terms of shooting scenes, were there any scenes that were a little bit easier to shoot, like more fun to shoot? That you had, like, what was the most fun thing to do?
I know what I'm going to say. I want to hear what you're going to say.
I'm just going to say the cooking, even though I didn't cook everything that's in the movie. But yeah, everything in the kitchen was very fun, because you have to focus on do something well, not on your acting, like to chop the vegetables well. So that gives you something to do and something to think about, and it makes you feel more relaxed. That's what I loved. But it was, in general, it was a very fun shooting. It was relaxing. Even though the story is, yeah, it was.
I mean, you seemed pretty relaxed all the time. I never saw you get flustered, actually, except the day of the goodbye scene.
Yeah, no, it was fun, relaxing, and that helps you. Every time you're playing a kind of an intense, dramatic character, you are looking for the opposites when you're off the screen. When you're not shooting, you're looking for smiles and laughs and goodbyes. And I had that in this shooting. But what's your favorite scene to shoot?
I loved the scene when Iván and Gerardo are studying English in New York at the dictionary. Yeah. Because I don't know, we were in New York, and it was an improvised scene. I just gave them a dictionary, and like, it wasn't really scripted. It was like, look up cooking words, and it was like improvised. And I thought they both did such an amazing job. They had to cut me out laughing behind the camera. Laughing. And like in the sound mix, you could be like, because it was really clever. Like this misspelling of the word and the way it was. I love the scene. People love the scene. It feels good. It feels real. It feels warm. And it really made me think that like improvisation is like, so when actors can do it, you have to let them do it. I mean, like Armando was particularly good at improvisation. I had a few actors in the cast who were very good at improvisation. Those actors I asked to improvise. Not every actor is comfortable with it, and that's not really their job oftentimes, to completely make up things. But Armando's particularly skilled at that. So I think if I made another film with him, I would leave a lot more room for that. You have to have a script, but you have to also deviate from the script and be able to just sort of go with things. And that scene was like a non-scene that came to life. Another scene that I really, really loved is the dinner scene in Chiapas when Iván is visiting the Gerardo's family home for the first time. In the script, there's like 4 lines. It's an awkward family dinner. And basically I gave each person something to do. I whispered things to them and they did it. And the actors took over. They knew sort of what their role was or what their opinion was, and they just did it. And it was thrilling for me. I knew it was a great scene when I was shooting it. And when you already know when you're shooting it, this is great. It's amazing. It doesn't happen that often. That was another scene that I thought was like really exciting. Just to see what the actors were going to do. And they were surprising each other. And for me, that was thrilling. I loved it.
And again, I must say that Heidi gives you like this empowerment. Like he empowers her actors to be creative and be, just to be their artist self in every way. So yeah, you're saying actors took the scene, and we did it because she gave us the opportunity, and not every director do that. Yeah.
You both brought up the food in the film, which I thought was like kind of its own character within the story. I wanted to know like who was cooking, I guess, and then like how did you choose what dishes to focus on inside the film?
I was cooking.
Oh, okay.
No, I mean, I was cooking, but not all of it. Like the nice little squares of vegetables, I didn't do that. But I did the cochinita pibil. Do you remember with Iván in New York?
Tell her about how Iván was like behind the camera, like telling you how to do it.
Oh my God, he was insoportable. He was... he was like a real boss, coming after me all the time and yelling at me and getting angry if I messed up a little bit the dishes. And yeah, he was very strict with me, but he's a good teacher, and it was my first time doing cochinita pibil.
I have a really cute behind the scenes video of him teaching you how to sharpen a knife.
I feel very good too.
Yeah, but he was like, Heidi, this is your movie, and I've stayed out of everything. I haven't even read the script. I'm being very good, but tomorrow you're filming the cooking, and I need to be there to make sure that my dishes are present. I said, okay, claro, of course you did. So he came and he like was all about it. And I was like, oh my God, pobre Armando.
Yeah, some of the dishes must have the same presentation that the actual restaurants. So he was very precise and specific with the dishes presentation. But it was fun. It was going to this world of the kitchens in New York. And also in Mexico, we did the chiles en nogada. And I learned how to do it. And now I'm a very...
And you were saying that with your mother yesterday. So chiles en nogada is the dish that in the film he says that, oh, that convent over there, that's where they made the chiles en nogada, the nuns. True story that Iván told me before I left for Mexico. I added it to the script very late, that scene, because that's a big dish that he's known for in New York. And in Mexico, it's a seasonal dish. You only get it in September, October, or August. And in New York, he cooks it all year round. But it's a very special, complicated, very Mexican dish. And so that's...
It's not complicated.
It's complicated.
It's not. It's not.
You sauteing with the peaches and everything? No. Bueno, you have to do it like days before. Es muy complejo.
But it was a very important dish for the story, for the universe of the character. So we decided to learn how to do it. So you hire a chef to teach me how to prepare the chiles. And we did it, and it was easy, wasn't that complicated. Maybe the ingredients are very Mexican. That's what makes a special dish. And yeah, it's only for Independence Day, which is September the 15th here in Mexico. And yeah, this year I've been doing chiles en nogada with my mom in my mom's restaurant. And that's very fun. And it's when reality meets fiction.
He sent us photographs of his own chiles en nogada, like on WhatsApp, like yesterday. And I was very proud. That dish is extremely important in all of our lives.
And people love my chiles en nogada.
Oh, I can't wait to eat one. You gotta make me one.
Of course, I will.
Your mom has to see the movie. Is she gonna come to Morelia?
I don't think so. I don't think she's going to.
Mexico City. She can go to one of those in the Diana. Okay.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Okay.
In terms of the shots that were shot in Mexico, which did you shoot first? Like in terms of like the shooting, did you do New York or did you do the stuff in Mexico first? Did you do the documentary parts of it first, or was it more of a like moving kind of like in and out of different forms as you went?
I shot the documentary material for years before I started shooting the fiction. It was already done. 99% of the documentary had been shot. So I built part of the script around some of that. So we filmed in Mexico first in October, and then we filmed in New York in January at the end because I wanted it to be very cold. I wanted the character of Iván to be shocked by the cold New York winter, which he was. And so that was important. It was scripted that it's an uninviting, difficult place to live, especially for someone from a climate like Mexico. So yeah, we shot it like that. We shot it in Mexico, then New York. But the documentary was in the can already for a long time.
And then another scene that I thought was really, like, I really enjoyed was the reunion scene, especially the way it was cut. So I wanted to know what it was like filming that scene as well.
Armando?
The reunion scene? Which one is that?
Gerardo, at New York.
Oh, that was another hard one. It was hard. Yeah, it was not the best day for the crew, remember, Heidi?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very good example of what actors need to do when everything around is not in the best mood or you don't have the best energy around. Most of the crew and the experience shooting this film was very friendly and fun and relaxed. But that day, I till now, I don't know what happened that day. I don't remember, but it was very hard and the energy around was very hard and was another important scene for me. And I was saving a lot of energy for it. And you just have to deliver. And for that specific one, I guess the energy focused on in between the two characters when they hug each other. When I watched the film, I realized that the energy was in there, in between the other actor and myself. And I guess that's a positive thing for the story and for the movie. Again, we imagine a lot from this, or about this scene, Heidi and I, and the actor Christian. We put a lot of energy and expectations in this one again. And the reality says gives you to another place and to use some other tools. And we did it. And I think it's a really nice scene when you see it.
It's very, very powerful. And it's another scene where it was written one way and then we did it a different way. Me consulting with the actors about what they imagined would happen instead of what was in the script. So we did it several different ways. And it's a very powerful moment in the film. I'm extremely happy with it. It was a very bad day. We had a very hard time shooting in New York. It was cold. We had an inexperienced crew. And we had too many scenes we were trying to do in a short amount of time. We had no money. And it was very taxing experience for all of us. It was like a cold glass of water. To be shooting in January in New York after we had this sort of luxurious experience in Mexico. So it was one of those scenes where, like, I don't know what I would have done if it didn't. We would have had to redo it. If it was like, it's a scene that had to be there. It was not, you could never cut the scene. It had to be in the movie. So there was pressure. But there was like one incredible take, one or two even incredible. The one take that is in the movie that was like Armando basically with he is all in his face. It's all in his eyes. You just know you're projecting on the character what he must be thinking. In one look, there is tenderness, regret, shame, a little bit of anger. And it's like, you just know what he's thinking. He's like, I'm so ashamed. I told you I was doing better here than I am. Now you're going to find out it's not true. I live in a shitty place. You're about to see how I live. You should have told me you were coming. You risked your life. I'm mad at you. You shouldn't have done it. I'm not worth it, but I love you. You know, it's like so many things are in this one expression, and it's really an incredible moment. And people comment all the time on that moment. All the things are going through one face in like 12 seconds. It's incredible. And I think that is like the alchemy and the chemistry and the sort of mystery of an actor for me. I don't know how he did that. I don't know if he knows how he did it. He'll have to tell us. But there's something that you can't, it's like a magical thing that happens. And if you capture it, it's like capturing lightning in a bottle. And I think that's what that scene is.
I'm not going to give you my secrets, but because I don't know. I don't know how that happens, but I can feel it. And I don't know where that happens. But it happens. I know it happens. And it happens when you as an actor have a beautiful, generous, abundante character, like a big character, a character that gives you a lot. You can reach that place. It's not even a physical place, but it's a place when things just happen. And that came to me in New York. It was very easy to play the New York parts. It was very easy for me because they took you to a completely different, it was my first time in New York. So they took me to a different world, in a different weather, with different people, this very tough city, and being very vulnerable as my character is. It was very easy for me just to play those scenes there, because all of the sets that you have, like everything that the crew sets for you just to get there. So I don't know what it is or where to go there. It's just a feeling, when you feel I'm gonna go all the way, and you do it, I guess.
Also, was a lot of physicality in New York. If you think about it, was a lot of physicality. You had to work at the car wash. You had to ride the bike. You had to do the cooking. You had to like walk in cold streets. You had to there was something about like his life in New York where he becomes like a day laborer, like a worker. Like he has to physically put himself on the line every day. And I think that wasn't part of the character in Mexico. So it's also like a transformation of your, you know, Armando insisted on me giving him a really ugly haircut when he got to New York. He's like, make it ugly. My hair has to be horrible. And I was like, are you sure? He's like, yes. So we gave him a horrible haircut because we imagined that like he doesn't have time and there's no more vanity and he's like just fucking surviving. And then he was stuck with this terrible haircut for like months.
Yeah. Wearing hats all my days in New York, wearing hats every fucking day in the theater, in the shops.
And then like 2 days later, he was really depressed about it. He's like, I don't know why we did that.
But I mean, I was thinking that the haircut was talking about his self-esteem and how you feel you're less just because you're there, and people makes you feel that you don't deserve or you're not worth it anything.
Yeah.
You're
not worth it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you don't worth anything. And I was trying to portray that, just to bring that to the table, because like I remember thinking that I was playing a gay guy in the 90s. It was kind of a fashion, sensitive and exquisite idea that I have for that part of the movie. This 90s gay character, and then when you're in New York, the story is a different one, and I wanted to bring it to my look.
And really in New York, he's suppressing his desires. He's suppressing that part of his life because he's just trying to survive. He's trying to make it. He can't speak, like all that like romance has been suppressed. He doesn't even want that ever to come. So it was right that he looked the way he did, and also the jackets and suddenly the clothes were all. So I think that really those were correct decisions. Yeah, that giant jacket. It does make a difference, the clothing, a lot. I mean, as a director, I learned a lot about that through working with Armando, finding his look in Mexico. We went through many stages to find it. All of this stuff matters, and you have to give the actor what he needs to get into the character, and all the details are important, including the bad haircut.
And every little decision tells a different story, right?
Yeah.
I definitely felt the New York part of the film. I was like watching when you were with the big coat, and I was like, oh, that's definitely New York. Like I could feel the cold radiating off the film. So we're almost out of time, but I just want to ask this one last question, which is one of the things that I really liked about the film in all parts of it was the importance of community and community building. So I wanted to talk about, and I feel like from this conversation, I can see that you built a community with your cast and crew as well, which I'm sure also showed itself on screen. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the community building. Both within the context of the story and also outside of the story with your crew and cast. And because it really does feel, when you're watching the film, it feels like a collaboration. It feels like you're seeing a story of people working together to tell a story. And it's been really fantastic to have this conversation with you, to know that feeling expanded beyond. There's clearly so much joy between the two of you. And I just wanted to comment on what was it like building that sort of set, but also the importance of building community within the context of the film.
It's such an interesting question. I'm going to focus on, I'm going to particularly focus on the community behind the camera. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of as a gringa foreign director making a Mexican film about Mexicans emigrating to the United States, and making that film now is a completely different historical context than if I made it 10 years ago. So I feel like there was pride, there was concern and then pride in making sure that it was done properly, that it wasn't full of tropes, it wasn't full of stereotypes, that the economic hardship of Iván's mother and father's alcoholism, where they lived, how they lived, it wasn't a dirty house. It wasn't abject poverty. The clothes weren't ripped. That would never happen. It was very dignified, humble people who were from a very, sort of a lower economic social class that took a lot of pride in their lives. So that was important, not to sort of it was just to get the tone correct, what poverty might look like for that family in that moment. Not to overdo it, just to everybody let's get the details right, and I think people were concerned maybe that because I'm an outsider that maybe things would be exaggerated. And then I think that once I asked the crew for help, and the costumes and the set designer and the production designer and the locations. And I wanted to make sure that this isn't too over the top, right? And I feel like there was a big sense of pride and responsibility that everybody felt to make sure the movie was correctly and beautifully executed and truthful. And that I felt that community from the actors, I felt it from the crew, I felt it from the gaffer, from everyone. Like, let's make sure, let's help her with her vision, but let's also make it like, let's be proud of this as Mexicans. And I felt that every day. So I think that does come through the camera. So that's sort of that community aspect that I'll address.
I totally agree. When you were shooting the Ivan's child in his childhood house, myself, Armando, I came from a background very similar to Ivan's. And when you were shooting Ivan's house, Ivan's childhood house, you were shooting very near to my own family house. The details with the art director, and like every detail was very, very close to reality for me. So I think you nailed it. And I also have to say that Heidi was very concerned about to get it right and to treat those subjects with dignity for us and for the real characters, for the real people. So everybody in the crew and the cast, we felt that, and we wanted to help her because she wanted to do it right, and she wanted to bring some dignity to the story. So as Mexicans, as proud Mexicans, we wanted to help her. And I'm still impressed on how Heidi has a very specific and close relationship with every single person in the crew and cast, like with everybody. She speaks all the time. She's smiling all the time. But I saw her talking with everybody. She knew the names and the story, and she built a specific relationship with everybody in the crew. And it wasn't something that she worked on it or she was pushing to have a connection. She truly, genuinely built those relationships. And I think that's something that she has in her, in herself, like in her most deep self. And that helps a lot because for making a community, you need a leader, and we have one. We had a powerful, funny one.
That's so lovely to hear. I think that we all need each other, and right now, especially with COVID, so many people have been separated. It really is a really interesting time to look at, the people that we collaborate with, that we love, that are next to us. Like, I don't think it's going to be hard to take that for granted again, and what's happening now, And I know, like, Iván and Gerardo, they're in New York, and their family is in Mexico, and Mexico's suffering with COVID. So is New York. And that separation is very pronounced right now. And so I feel like right now we're also looking to our community of friends. I'm seeing Iván and Gerardo tonight, but I've been trying to see my friends whenever we can. We have to go outside. We can't go in the homes. And like, just having a drink with a friend outside has become like a very special thing to cherish. Like, community is on everybody's mind right now, for sure. So, I don't know. I hope that, people don't forget what it's like to be part of one when this is all over. I hope people really appreciate it more.
Well, thank you very much for speaking with me, and thank you to all the viewers for watching this amazing film. Please recommend it to your friends. And thank you for being here at the Mill Valley Film Festival. Thank you, Heidi. Thank you, Armando.
Thank you so much, Faridah. Thank you so much.